That's
Okay,
amazing.
here we go. Okay, y'all. Um, we go look at this 12 tribes chart. Guerrilla Hebrew bringing some information. I got the brother Panehesi, brother Yashob, Yaakov, Mikael, Yahawada, and Basim over there. We go break this down. The brother Guerrilla Hebrew got something for us. Go ahead, break it down, bro.
Yeah, well, real quick, matter of fact, read that in Deuteronomy 28 again, because we were just going into something before we went on, and you know, we was basically talking about our stance on the 12 tribes chart, which we accepted, but we're not against fine tuning it and adding certain people from it that are our brothers that are scattered outside of the Americas. The initial 12 tribe chart was created predominantly for us over here in the Americas. You understand what I'm saying? Now I want you to bring it out, and then we're gonna speak about these people, and then Yahweh, if you could put the pictures back up for the crowd's edification. Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Exactly. So those of our people, one of the primary ways we'll be able to tell who our people are is who is affected by these curses. Okay, now there's a group of people in Yemen, okay, not the Yemeni Jew, okay, we're talking about a group of people in Yemen known as the Al-Aqdam or the Qadim, okay, and these people are the bottom of the Yemenite society. They are Negroids phenotypically. They suffer from sickle cell, but nobody knows their true origins. They're not Ethiopian, but nobody really knows where they are from, and they are the bottom of the Yemenite society, and they are affected by all of these curses that are written within Deuteronomy 28th chapter. I have an actual kind of lecture video lesson I did on it entitled James 1 and 1 Blood Brothers. Okay, that's what it's called. If you go to my channel, which is Sakari Sit Downs on YouTube, look up the video James 1 and 1 Blood Brothers, and in that video I detail, it's like 30 to 45 minutes, detailing their life, having clips and statements that they made and lining them up perfectly with the scriptures, and showing through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai that they in fact fit these curses, and they are likely our people. You see what I'm saying? So it's our job, like I was saying before we went live, with this knowledge and information that the Most High now has us accessible to go and research these things as painstakingly as we possibly can, to exhaust our resources and figure out which of these people scattered throughout the world are in fact our people. And I feel like just because somebody claims to be us, that doesn't necessarily make much. In some cases, yes, but we know we have some people who are following after the ways of the synagogue of Satan also. You see what I'm saying? And basically are trying to assume our identities. I wouldn't say that's true of much of the brothers in West Africa, because it just doesn't make sense, because they've been calling themselves that. But certain groups of people like the Yemeni Jew and, you know, individuals like that, I'm skeptical of. But people like these people in Yemen, I'm not skeptical of them at all, because them curses are clearly on themselves and they don't know who they are. Matter of fact, real quick, give me that Jeremiah 17 and 4. Hold that Amos 9 so we can bring that out in a second and we can kind of, you know, open it up to brothers. But go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage.
So it was a prophecy that we would discontinue from our heritage. And these people that's in Yemen, the Al-Aqdam or the Qadim as they're called, they don't know who they are. They're trying to assimilate in the Yemeni culture. They're trying to be accepted by the people in Yemen. You understand what I'm saying? Just like niggas in America is trying to be accepted by the white man and adopt cracker culture. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. Go ahead.
It's like the Negritos in the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly. You got the Negritos in the Philippines. Who are they? You see what I'm saying? But go ahead.
It says, that I gave thee and will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not.
Exactly. They didn't know this land. They got brought over there to Yemen. They didn't know it. However, they got over there. And now they're there. They don't know who they are. They're destitute, which means stripped of their knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and identity. And now they're trying to find an identity, and they're being, you know, desecrated and put on the bottom of society, just like the rest of our people are everywhere else. You know, that's a #1 telltale sign scripturally from a spiritual aspect of knowing who's Israel. Well, let's take a look at who's at the bottom of that society. You see what I'm saying? But real quick, get your point in Amos, and then we can kind of utilize that to open up the conversation.
Right, because somebody had mentioned that how can we get the tribes down packed if in fact we are scattered through the four corners of the earth? But the scriptures tell us that the tribes are going to stay intact, although there will be remnants of every tribe throughout the four corners of the earth. This is Amos chapter 9 and 8. It says, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom."
Which is talking, which, for the record, for everybody out there, we're going to say this now. When it says upon the sinful kingdom, everybody breaks that down, and that's America. That's not talking about America. Read Amos, the 9th chapter in context. That's talking about us. We are the sinful kingdom when we was going off. Read.
"And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth."
That's right. When he scattered us out of Israel. Read.
Took us away from being a kingdom and a nation, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he didn't destroy us as a people, but he destroyed our kingdomhood. Read.
Right. It says, "Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob."
Exactly. We won't be utterly destroyed. Though we were scattered, we don't get destroyed. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
"Saith the Lord." It says, "For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations."
So we over all nations, right?
"Like as corn is sifted in a sieve.
Read.
Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth."
Let's go. Let's go. But see, we sifted throughout the whole world, but we're a very tribalistic people, and that's why where you see a lot of us gathering together, it's in the tribal formation. You see what I'm saying? We always assemble tribally because that's just our culture. Real quick, I want to get Numbers 1 and 18. "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls." So this is how we assembled ourselves, by the tribe and the family of our fathers. So we're very tribalistic people. Is there anomalies, like we was talking about earlier, anomalies that occur that maybe somebody slips through the tracks and maybe it was a Judite that was with a bunch of Israelites, or an Israelite that came with a bunch of Judites? Yeah, these things occur. But in general, the trend is what we're dealing with. You see what I'm saying? Because we can't get overly technical and too specific on each and every individual. You understand what I'm saying? But it's in general, we know these tribes are who they are based off of the scriptures and the research historically that we've done. You got another?
That's about him saying that we're a tribalistic people.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Romans chapter 11, verse 1. "I say then, has the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite."
I'm an Israelite. He's bagging on you. I'm an Israelite, right?
"Of the seed of Abraham."
That's right, right?
"Of the tribe of Benjamin."
Of the tribe of Benjamin. So we always gonna let people know the nation and the tribe that we coming from, because tribalism was something that was a very important aspect of Israelite culture and civilization. With that, I guess we could open it up. Brothers, y'all do y'all thing.
I think it's best for for us to go around and
Shalom.
Shalom. I think it's best for us to go around and everybody give their stance on the chart. Like, what's your stance on the chart?
This brother Mikael, I just wanted to make a statement. I know Guerrilla Hebrew, he wouldn't mind, but because there's a lot of people who are historians like me and a lot of us on the panel who always have that same question that I asked Guerrilla Hebrew. And I'm happy to say that you said that you've already noticed that, and you go public with that, because a lot of people got that misconception if they learn history and know that a lot of the Haitians went to Louisiana. So so Guerrilla Hebrew has went public. That brother, he say he's already acknowledged that. He's actually expanding on the chart and saying that there's a lot of other places that people need to look at. Now, me myself, I only believe that Judah, Benjamin, and Levi came to the west, and I believe the other 9 tribes are Africa and Asia. But even with all that being said, we are openly listening to each other, putting forth the evidence that we're all considering this whole discussion. So I just want to let everybody know this is not an argument. This is the Brews working out an issue amongst Israel.
And real quick, if I can say this, on what the brother just said in regards to the tribe of Levi, because we actually said that before we went live, so I want to make sure I reiterate this for the people, because the brother spoke about a lot of the Haitians actually went to Louisiana, and I have firsthand knowledge of this because my family, when they started migrating out of Haiti in the late 1800s, that's where they came to, principally. They went to Louisiana, a lot of them went to the Bahamas, and some of them started going actually back to France and to Canada. But a lot of them, the majority of them, especially my direct line, went to Louisiana. And a lot of the French, because we have to understand, we were speaking about this on the Hangout last night, you had something called the European competition. The different white nations were not trading with each other. The English and the French didn't do too much commerce with each other because they were rivals. The French were trading amongst each other. Now, the French had their two principal spots in the Americas picked out, which was Haiti, as they called it, Santo Domingo or whatever, and Louisiana. So them same slaves, that same crop of slaves that went to Haiti is the same crop of slaves that went to Martinique, is the same crop of slaves that went to Guadeloupe and went to Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? So the black people that's in Louisiana, that's native to there, not people that have later migrated to there, would be of the tribe of Levi also. So I want to make sure to get that out of the way and confirm that for the people, because we were speaking about that before we went live.
Okay, I'm gonna give my stance on the chart. This is Panehesi. I think a lot of people confuse my stance on the chart because I'm so forward with scrutinizing it. Because I've been in the truth for maybe almost 10 years, and I know people that have disagreements with the chart, but they're not vocal about it. And me being the person who I am, I have to be vocal about it. I'm passionate about history, I'm passionate about learning, and I'm passionate about teaching our people and giving them right knowledge that they can actually use and utilize, you know? So that's what I'm about. The misnomer, or the what you would say, the misnomer, or the stereotype for people that scrutinize the chart is, oh, you scrutinizing the chart, they mean you want to make the whole chart black. Nah, that's not. That's a misnomer, and that's a stereotype. I don't want to make the whole chart charcoal black. Like you got to have dark skin. That's not what I'm saying. When it comes to the chart, and when it comes to the evidence of where the people are, we in the information age, we have to deal with evidence. If we have evidence to prove that certain tribes are these tribes, we can't overlook that. Like I brought up before about, well, we all discussed and agreed that 7 tribes are in West Africa, and 4 of those 7 tribes are Northern Kingdom, right? But on the chart doesn't reflect that, right? So the chart, in my opinion, the chart should reflect that, because it would be giving the African Americans over here a more accurate account of who they are. Not saying that some could be Judah, but if the bulk of the Northern Kingdom, or people saying they're from the Northern Kingdom over there, and we took from that Pacific people the most out of all West African nations, it would be suffice to say that a lot of us are really Northern Kingdom, but we're walking around saying we're Judah just because of the chart. I don't know any African American that was brought here on the slave ship that followed the Israelite doctrine that say that they're any other tribe outside of Judah. So that's how I know that's a misconception, or that's an idea that's being propagated that's not tactfully addressed. And it's not to say that the people that made the chart meant any ill will by it. They were working with the information that they had at that time period. But that was the 1960s. That was a hot minute ago, like a half a century ago, right? So we have all this new information that's coming out, all this new research. We have people in Africa, different historians that are born in Africa, that's standing up and say, hey, we are the Israelites. It's many of scholars, many of books of them actually standing up and and proclaiming who they are, and they're reaching across the waters to us, to bring us back, and and we share information with them, and they share with us. But the thing that I do when it comes to the chart, if we know for sure, right, we can speculate, and we can say, well, the North American Indians are Gad, and even if brothers believe that, that's cool. They're Gad, whatever like that. That can be contended. But when it's people in West Africa that have always said they were Gad, they've never had any other name. They always said they were Gad. I think that would be a starting point, a springboard to say, okay, these people say they were Gad, right? Okay, who are they? They're the Igbo. Okay, the Igbo. Okay, well, let's see. What people got took from the Igbo? Oh, oh, African Americans got took from the Igbo. Well, wouldn't it be more ideal to say they're God? Not to say that you might not have no God that was already over here amongst the so-called Native Americans. That's not to say that, but we have concrete proof and evidence. This day and age, we have to go off of concrete proof and evidence until we can figure out concretely. Okay, this specific Native American tribe is God. That's when we can say, okay, they're God. Until then, I don't think we can really label any tribe anything.
Now, oh my bad. Are we gonna keep going? I was gonna respond to it, but I don't want to. You know, if we going around the round table.
Yeah, I
know,
want everybody to give their position on the chart. Hey, brother Divine, you want to give your position?
And I'm gonna go after Divine. Okay, is that cool?
That's cool.
Okay.
Divine might be at work, so.
Can I add my little 2 cents or whatever?
Go ahead, bro.
I was going. All right,
I heard.
Go ahead. I'll go after you, your show. Go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead, Alvin. Go ahead. I'll be patient.
I gotta be polite. I gotta be the mediator. Go ahead, bro. It's all good.
No, because I was going to ask him a question, so you can go ahead and go.
Oh, okay. Well, here's my position on the chart is this. I think we can make a chart. I think we can make a legitimate chart and maybe use some of the information from Guerrilla Hebrew and Panehesi, and I think we can use some real history to create a more accurate chart of Israelites in the Western Hemisphere. You know, because my position is always there's Israelites in every part of that chart. Cuba, Mexico, Brazil, all of North America, everywhere on that chart there are Israelites. But I'm saying that because there were slaves that went to each one of part of those charts. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we can narrow down what tribes these slaves were claiming, and I think Panehesi got some information on that, and if we look on the worldwide scale, Guerrilla Hebrew just brought some information on that. Them people in Yemen. I think if we all come together, we can make a chart that's a lot more accurate than what we got right now. All right, go ahead, Yashol.
Okay, I heard you too, man. But my question is, okay, you're saying that the Native Americans of Indian, wait for questions. I thought we were already in the discussion.
Everybody ain't went around and gave their stance yet, so we
All right,
everybody get a stance.
All right, my stance is I believe that the 12 tribes is accurate dealing with the bulk, dealing with America. Okay, those brothers that are Indian and Negroid descent are the Israelites that are over here in America, and they are the ones that came. They are the 10 tribes that came from Assyria. I mean, well, from Assyria in 2nd Ezra 13 and Zechariah 10, and that's when they came by way of sea on ships to America. So that's my stance.
All right, I'm gonna give my stance real quick. My stance is I agree with it to an extent. Like, I don't believe that everybody in those areas in which they talk about were Israelites, but I don't disagree that they're saying that like Gad was in North America and Issachar was the Mexicans and different things. Like, I don't disagree with that. And I know a lot of people get on this standpoint of, well, we know the tribe. Well, we got Gad over here and we got Gad over there. Well, I mean, you're gonna find some Gad in Far East Asia. You're going to find some Gad maybe even in some areas of Europe. You're going to find some Gad all over the place because we were dispersed to the 4 corners of the earth. Right now, what the chart was mainly made for was what is over here in the Western Hemisphere, not all over the world. Do we need to expand to the rest of the world? Yeah, of course, because we got brothers that's all over that want to know who they are. But at the end of the day, like I was saying, you're gonna have people who from Judah that's in Asia, that's in Malaysia, that's in all types of areas. So just because we have someone by a certain name that's in a certain area doesn't mean that we should go ahead and just go into that area and act like they're not everywhere else.
Right. My view on the 12 tribe chart is, as James and Alvin has put it, we do need to expand that chart. But my view is, I think that the chart that we currently have may need to be done away with, and maybe we can create a new chart from scratch, tracing it only by the historical and biblical evidence. Although the one that's present today is claimed to be facing the historical and biblical evidence, I think that with the new discoveries we have made recently, I think that we can go ahead and create a new one that's more accurate, as Brother Alvin put it.
A revision, pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, let me address the brother that spoke about you know, there's tribes everywhere. I totally understand that, and that's what I also said. What I'm saying is this: if we have Gad or Manasseh, Ephraim, Asher in West Africa, we don't have to speculate on that point, meaning that that's concrete, like the brother Yahweh that just said. Like that's the proof right there of where they are. Not to say that Gad is not anywhere else. We know for sure they're there, and with research, they can be a point of reference to find the rest of the tribes. That's how I look at it. So I'm not excluding that it can be Gad over here amongst the North American Indians, but it's conjecture to say, oh, the North American Indians are Gad when there's 500 nations, and within those nations there's thousands of tribes, thousands of subclans. See what I'm saying?
Oh, I agree.
And none of them call themselves Gad or even speculate towards it. I know we have some, we have some Hebraic customs and things of that nature in amongst the North American Indians, but all of them didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be more thorough with what we're giving people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking and saying that you didn't have any Hebrews over here. It's the fact that what tribe do they belong to? That's very unclear right now.
Real quick, as I want to respond to that, just dealing with Gad, and number one, the largeness of it. Matter of fact, give me that in Deuteronomy 33. Matter of fact, real quick, this is Isaiah 10, and I'm gonna read the 22nd verse. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. So we see that the Lord, over the course of time, has increased our nation greatly. We are as the sand of the sea, right? So the fact that all of us as tribes have become bigger, like nations. We can function as our own nations as tribes at this point in a lot of instances and cases. Now, I understand that there's those of us that claim Northern Kingdom tribes that are over there in Nigeria that are claiming that are of the Igbo, right? But how many of them are there? You see what I'm saying? We are the sand of the sea. I'm not saying, again, same thing that this brother's done. I'm not saying that them brothers ain't Gad. What I'm saying is Gad isn't limited to them. And I understand the brother's standpoint of we have a concrete fact to prove that they're Gad. But also, again, we have to take in consideration is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. So we're going to discontinue from our heritage. So just because somebody doesn't necessarily claim to be a Gadite or of any tribe or an Israelite in general, if customs and biblical precedents can substantiate their identity as Israelites, we can't rule it out. You understand what I'm saying? So it can't. We're not just dealing with concrete archaeological facts here, because there's a degree of faith here when we deal with the scriptures and the belief in the Most High. Yeah. And the thing is too, the concrete stuff is good. I believe, hey, what this brother said, it's Gadites over there in Nigeria. I believe it. There's no doubt in my mind. You see what I'm saying? And like this brother said, it's not limited to. But that's why the understanding of the tribes does need to be updated. You see what I'm saying? And we need to start including those of us that are outside of the Americas, and even getting more technical about those of us that are within the Americas also, because just like the discrepancy with the brothers that went to Louisiana, and they're the same as the Haitian, they would be of the same tribe. They're not of two different tribes. You see what I'm saying? So some fine tuning definitely needs to come in. And the reason it needs to come in is because the Heavenly Father has given us a plethora of information that could assist us in doing it. You got to.
Yeah, I got
it. Real quick, Howard, I see you got something. Let me just finish that, and then go ahead.
Right, like the brother said, is by faith. Just two quick scriptures. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. It says, "The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High."
Exactly. Yeah, read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 20. "And of Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad."
So Gad is a tribe that got enlarged. So that's in part why we believe that the North American Indian is Gad, because there's these nations and these clans, and they had an immense large amount of land that they occupied and was spread across, because the scriptures said a blessing of them was going to be enlarged. You understand what I'm saying? Now, real quick, before my bad, let me get just this one more, because I referenced this last night. And I referenced this, and I brought this out during my discourse with Polite.
Real quick, but before, for the brother that's bringing out the evidence on the Gadites in West Africa, I would have to ask you. Like I said, I'm not denying there's Gadites over there, but what I want to know is if you have any information on the population of them.
The amount of
them.
How many of it? Yeah, and real quick, this is I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Matter of fact, I might have to. This is Revelation 7 and 4.
Here, I'll do it.
And read it for me, because this is a spirit. This is a spiritual thing. Also, we have to deal with tangible evidence, because it tells us in Revelations that the earth helped the woman. The woman is Israel. The earth is all this history and all this archaeology that we can get our hands on that attest to us being the Israelites. So we have to deal with the tangible evidence, but we also have to deal with the spiritual aspect and understanding of it, through the scriptures and the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Now, we know that we are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, but there are going to be one place where there was going to be a great deliverance, was it that Babylon the Great, as it speaks of in the book of Revelations. Now, when it speaks about the deliverance from Babylon the Great, take a look at how the tribes are numbered, and they are numbered in a way that is, they are listed in a way that geographically lines up with the 12 tribes chart that we have. You understand what I'm saying? And REI never brought this out. None of the One West elders I have ever heard bring this out. We was the first people to ever bring this out. But of course, that's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, and is a testament to the fact that, like the scriptures say, as time goes on, knowledge and wisdom increase. So we get in this knowledge and wisdom. We having better historical references that we could deal with, and it's helping us broaden our understandings on certain things, but also it is confirming certain things that we already had faith and believed in previously. But go ahead.
Revelations chapter 7 and 4. "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all tribes of the children of Israel.
That's right, read.
Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000.
So you got Judah. We say that Judah is the African American, correct? The black man here in America was sealed 12,000. Read.
Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000.
We say the tribe of Reuben is the Seminole Indian that dwell predominantly in the southwest Florida and parts of southern Georgia. Read.
Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000.
Was sealed 12,000, the tribe of Gad. So we just have the North American Indian, Seminole Indian, and African American serially listed geographically pursuant to how the tribe is set up. Those three were purposely listed like that. This is a spiritual thing we're dealing with. Go ahead.
Right, listed all together, listed where they be all together in the end times. Verse 7. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000.
So that's a so-called Dominican, right?
I'm sorry, verse 6.
Oh, yes, yeah, go ahead.
Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000.
So that's Colombia to Uruguay. We're dealing with much of South America that was covered there. Read.
Of the tribe of Nephthalim were still 12,000.
That's a tribe of Naphtali. We say that's the Argentinians to Chilean. So that just covered South America. So we just covered North America, right? The United States of America. Now we cover South America, right, Reed?
Of the tribe of Manasseh were still 12,000.
Now we say that's the so-called Cuban, right, Reed?
Of the tribe of Simeon were still 12,000.
Now the tribe of Simeon is so-called Dominican. They dwell on the island of Hispaniola. Hispaniola you could swim to from Cuba. Many Haitians swim from Hispaniola to Cuba as a find a place to get more work. Right?
Of the tribe of Levi were still 12,000.
Levi on the west side of Hispaniola. So as we see, coincidentally enough, REI never brought this out to substantiate this. You have Judah, Gad, and Reuben listed together in North America. Then you go to South America. You have Asher and Naphtali listed together. Then we start going to the islands. We have Levi, Simeon, and Manasseh listed together.
Right.
You see that? So this is a spiritual thing. So this is we can't take away from the spiritual and faith aspect of this thing, and how the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai confirms these things that we believe through showing us precept upon precept, in addition to archaeological facts. Read.
Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000.
The so-called Mexican. Read.
Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000.
Now understand something. You have the Mexican and the Zebulun are from Guatemala to Panama. Guatemala is the country immediately south of Mexico. Now understand this also. In the book of Deuteronomy, Genesis, the 49th chapter, it says that Zebulun will be at the border of Zidon. You take a look at the ancient maps of where Zebulun's tribal land was. They weren't nowhere near Zidon, the Zidonians. But we know that the Zidonians came over here to the Americas, right, and were trading and getting goods over here from the Americas, and were known as the Olmecs.
Mhm.
The Olmecs land was at the furthest south point of Mexico, and it bordered Guatemala. So coincidentally enough, all of this is fitting perfectly into the puzzle through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And that's why we got to give all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai,
Right.
because look how beautiful these scriptures is. It tells us in the book of John, the 6th chapter, that these words are spirit. That's what Yahweh Shai said. And it is clear, and I'm so happy that we live in these last times where the Lord is giving us all this wealth and information. Go ahead, Al.
Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000.
Now the tribe of Joseph, because Ephraim became the chief of the two Josephite tribes. You see what I'm saying? So that's really in reference to the so-called Puerto Rican. Okay, go ahead.
Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000.
Now the Benjamin are the other West Indians, which Puerto Rico is in close proximity to Jamaica, the Bahamas, Trinidad, and Tobago, Barbados, all them little islands. So we just saw that these tribes were listed in a perfect geographical order in pursuant to how the 12 tribes chart is set up. This is something that cannot be ignored. Is this a coincidence, or do you think it was divinely designed to go like that to confirm the understanding of the 12 tribes chart? That's a question that I want to ask, but I want to hear some feedback from everybody else too.
Can I answer the question? What's your name, brother, in the white shirt with Guerrilla Hebrew?
It's my brother Hakat.
Well, to answer your question about the population of the Igbo, right? As it stands today, I think the Igbo are around 35 million.
How many
the Igbo people?
How many of them are claiming to be Gadites and all the various tribes? That's the main question.
Right.
The ones that are claiming to be Gad today, I'm not sure of how many of them there are, but the tribes that we list, like Ephraim, Manasseh, Zebulun, they're all part of the Igbo. They're just different sub-clans and different, different tribes amongst the Igbo. So also too, like I brought up earlier today before the other brother got on, before the brother in the white shirt got on, when it comes to the Negroes that were brought from West Africa to North America. Now we all know that 95% of the slaves went to South America and the islands, right? 5% came to America. Out of that 5%, the highest percentage of people out of the 6 major groups took it from Africa were the Igbo. And that's followed by the people in Cameroon or Central America, the Congo. So, I mean, it's suffice to say, if we're going to construct a chart or anything, the concrete evidence would be the springboard to finding everybody else. Because I did further research on the Zebulun and hold on once. Could you go in there with that? I did further research on the Zebulun. Get out of here. I did further research on Zebulun in Nigeria. When I did my research and I looked at Mexico, it's a place named Uzubulo or Uzubulan. That same place, and that exact same name, is in West Africa, but it's in Veracruz, New Mexico.
Come.
So I mean, I haven't researched past that point yet because I'm looking for books on that particular people in Mexico.
That's a beautiful gem right there.
Yeah. So see, but I said that to say this: the Zebulun in West Africa, that was my springboard to find the ones in Mexico. See what I'm saying?
Okay, so I see what you're saying. Basically going back to the concrete, the ones that we know are claiming descendantship from these tribes, and then going from that standpoint and then searching out from there and kind of piecing it together like that.
Con.
Hey,
That makes
Can I I want to say something about
Go ahead, Wayne.
certain things that and Guerrilla Hebrew, man, you know, from yesterday, man, you know, all respect, bro. That was my first time able to dialogue with you. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect or nothing like that.
Most
I like
definitely,
I said,
brother.
I do have some lean to the chart, and I also have some opposition against the chart as well. I'm gonna just say a few things, give a few statements about why, and certain things I need to be cleared up about this. Um, I'm gonna give y'all why I'm against the chart. Okay. And it's in the realm of logic. I'm very aware that the tribes of Israel, all right, a few of the tribes of Israel definitely dispersed over here in the Americas and also in the islands. But I also know that those islands were occupied by people before them, and an issue comes about. If I am to say that the Mexicans are Zebulon, I'm going to use the brothers with the information that the brother just presented. I have no quarries with that. I'm very comfortable to say that yes, Zebulon can be found in Mexico. But I know that when we're looking at today, we know that the Mexicans have mixed and mingled with a lot of people that was indigenous to that area. And even if they didn't, if there's no proof to prove that, you have people from America, Europeans, French, Japanese, to this day that lives in Mexico and that are mixing and mingling with the people. And I know that there's a doctrine that claims that, which I am against, claims that the race is determined by the father, which I understand the logic behind that, but that's not the point. I'm just using that to make my argument. If you got these people coming into this area, having seed with so-called Zebulon, having seed with the so-called Haitians, which are many Americans to this day are over there, and throughout the years have been going back and forth, having babies with these people, white people, Spanish people. You know what I'm saying? My wife is Haitian. I even tell her about her lineage or where she may come from. And I did a lot of good studies on Haiti. And I would never take anybody nationality from them and tell them they don't know more than what I know. But my point is, even if that chart can show you that the 12 tribes came over here, which no doubt they did, it does not emphatically claim, and it shouldn't emphatically claim, that all those places that we are naming on these charts, that these people are all Israelites. And I think that if we're going to do a chart, we need to let the chart be a basically giving another example of how the chart can be used to show people, okay, look, we know that the tribes came over here. We know that certain tribes came to this place, but we're not saying everybody that is named Manasseh or Puerto Rican or a Mexican or a Haitian is of Israel, because there's so many mixture, there's so much mixing that was going on. And then you have to also look at this. We also mixed when we went into Africa. Before 70 AD, we were already in Africa and other areas when you read Acts chapter 2. So what I'm saying is that logically, even with the archaeological evidence, and I've looked at some of these books, and I know that there are historians that talk about certain traditions that, matter of fact, I even was talking to a guy that was an actual Mexican, pure, pale, white Mexican, and he can trace his lineage all the way back to, I believe it's the Aztecs, and he did a DNA test, and it proved, okay, if it was accurate, that he was from the northern part of Syria, but he can trace his ancestral traits, names, fathers, all the way to the Aztecs. So there is truth in it. I'm not denying that, okay? But what I'm saying is that if this is going to be something that we're going to do as making this chart, let this chart state that everybody that is from this landmass
is not of Israel. And we don't need to be telling people that they are emphatically, without a shadow of a doubt, Israel, but that, yo, you could be an Israelite. And another thing, and I'm gonna toss it over. A lot of brothers up here might not agree with me, but I don't consider myself a Hebrew. I consider myself an Israelite by one thing and one thing only. I consider myself an Israelite because I practice what the Israelites do, what the ancient Hebrews did. And if I am a stranger, if I am somebody that is not of that nationality, which I do not know for a fact, I cannot claim that, I cannot prove that. But I can say that I'm an Israelite due to the fact that I keep Torah, I believe in Yahusha, I believe in Yahuwah, I believe in the prophets. You feel what I'm saying? So that's my take. And my take is only coming from a logical standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Archaeological wise, I do the archaeology. I'm very into the archaeology, and yes, you are right. Even some of the archaeology that they have found over here, they want to disprove so bad. But you have to understand that there's also other archaeological evidences that they have tampered with, and we can all look into the you can all look into the archives. When you talking about the lost Lunas stones, when you talking about the Bat Creek inscriptions, they're trying to say that these things are just, you know, made up things, just like the Egyptian hieroglyphs and the Egyptian artifacts that they found in the Grand Canyon. You feel what I'm saying? So we know that other people came over here. Many different people came over here. So there's a lot of mixing going on. That's all I'm stating. There's a lot of mixing going on. So I'm not going to walk these streets and tell somebody that you're from the nasty. Believe because the God of the Bible is the true God. And the chart kind of makes it seem like you have to believe because you're from this place, and therefore this is what you are, therefore this is what you need to be doing. And I have this problem because the Comedics bring this up, and I tell them, I can come from Admos's nutsacks. I don't care if I'm a Comedic. If I find out by DNA proven fact, if the father came and said, look, brother, you a Comedic, I still want to serve you because I believe that you're the truth. I believe your book is the truth. I believe in your son. So I think that chart really need to go under some heavy scrutinization, and I probably made that word up, but it need to be scrutinized, and it definitely need to be dealt with in a manner where it's based on logic, and not just, and another thing, I also believe that the 12 tribes chart is made up of purely twisting scripture, because there is no scriptural hard evidence, even though we can make it seem like, to me, in my eyes, when I read the Bible, when I go over Ephraim like John King, I don't see light-skinned Puerto Rican or something like that. I see somebody that's halfway in and halfway out. That's the knowledge that I get, the logic that I get looking in the Hebrew or otherwise. So I think the 12 chart tribe thing is made up basically of I think that we gotta put effort into correcting that chart. We want to keep a chart add on.
That was interesting insight, brother, and I appreciate that insight. It was very educated and well put together. I just want to respond to a couple of the things that you said, and re-emphasizing the importance of the spiritual aspect of the chart. Get Romans first.
Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High.
That we are the children. The Spirit, matter of fact, get Hebrews real quick, 11 for me. The Spirit itself, the Spirit of the Most High bears witness with our spirit that we are, in fact, these 12 tribes. You see what I'm saying? And even outside of the tribe itself, that we are the Israelites, the fact that we have this zeal for the Most High, the fact that you want to serve the Most High, irregardless of who you might be, actually attests to the fact that you're in fact an Israelite, because your spirit is bearing witness of that. Real quick, let's go to 11 and 24. 11 and 24.
Hebrews 11 and 24. By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
See, by faith, I'm not an Egyptian. I'm an Israelite by faith. So faith and the spiritual aspect cannot be ignored. So then give me Malachi 1 and 14, just to substantiate the fact that you fear the Most High and things of that nature. Again, this attests to just attest to the fact that you're a Hebrew Israelite patrilineally. Last book.
All right, this is Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. Where is verse 4?
Oh, 14.
Verse 14. But cursed be the deceiver which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrificeth unto the Lord a corrupt thing.
Keep reading.
For I am a great king,
Right, read.
saith the Lord of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen.
So the name of the Lord is dreadful amongst the nations outside of Israel. They're going to have to wait until the kingdom of heaven is established here on earth till they serve the nation of Israel, because it's going to be, they're going to have to submit. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that you are so willingly and readily submitting to the God of Israel and the law, statutes, and commandments that he laid forth to us through your spirit is a testament of your faith to the fact that you're Hebrew Israelite. So, you know, we let's not ignore, you know, on those things. And and real quick, let me not forget, you said something about all the people who live in Mexico being Israelites. That was a tremendous point, and that's something that people ask that question, and we have to emphatically clarify that. And I spoke about that when I dealt with Polite. We're not saying the Spaniards or these white people that's over there. When we're speaking of it, we're speaking of the indigenous inhabitants and the Negroids that came over through slavery. And some of the indigenous, of course, are Negro also. So we got to understand that. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
The fact that you made that. 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 36.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
So the Israelites have kept the precept. The heathen don't keep the precept.
They
You see what I'm
can't.
saying? They can't. So the fact that you are, it attests spiritually. If you don't have the concrete patrilineal proof to know that you're of one of the tribes of Israel, you see what I'm saying? Your spirit and the fact that you are moved with the zeal that you are for the Most High is a testament to the fact that you're an Israelite.
Hey, and on that note, I'd like to make a comment. I guess by understanding that if the Spirit can attest that you're an Israelite, the Spirit can also attest that, I guess, like some of these Kemet brothers who we know for sure are Israelites who don't have that Spirit, that must mean that they reprobates.
Of course.
Exactly. Well, the scriptures speak about how that Israelites were constantly trying to follow the ways of Egypt. So they had that same spirit, man, you know.
Right.
I believe Isaiah chapter 30 verse 1 through 3 kind of bears witness to that too while we're dealing with the whole Kemetic thing. But back on the tribes, you know, me myself, I don't subscribe. I'm not trying to make a chart or anything like that. That ain't my thing. But it's of importance, and I'd like to tell y'all why. And then I'll mute the mic again and just continue to listen. I was watching something today, and it was with the Etrians. I don't know if y'all heard about the Etrians over
In Ethiopia.
Yeah. Okay. Now the Etrians. I was watching a documentary on PBS, and these Etrians were trying to get to Israel. They're trying to get up out of there, man. Y'all know it's getting kind of hectic for the Israelites in Africa right now. That's one reason we can't ignore that. And I wasn't sure who the Etrians was. I know it's some things that need to be busted up too about all of the Philosophians being Hamites. That's absolutely not true. You actually have evidence of Israelites being in Ethiopia all the way back in the Old Testament. So we've always had like a spot over there. That's one reason that the natives gave them the name Phalasha. Phalasha actually means alien, stranger, or sojourner. So they wouldn't give you that name just because of a religious custom. They literally was not from there. So what I was gonna say was I was watching the Etrians, and the Etrians was trying to get to Israel. They had to cross through Egypt. So it's an epidemic over there going on now that I believe that some natives, Hamites, if you want to say, are targeting them as victims for kidnappings, and they kidnap them, and then they call around to the other nations, mainly places of Israel, and they ask them to pay a ransom for them. And they showed the people who got the ransom paid for them and got freed and were allowed to go in Israel. And brothers, when I say they looked it just like us, and they chilling in Israel, and I don't know if y'all seen certain parts of Tel Aviv and stuff look like Chicago. And they sitting around, brother, and I'm talking about brown, look just like my family members. And it made me think of a conversation I had with an Israelite from Africa. He's from the Lemba tribe, I believe. He's one of my friends on Facebook. And he has a whole Hebrew name. You know, they know they're Israelites. And the brother said to me about the chart one day, he asked me, did I subscribe to the chart? And I said, no. I said, I believe there's some truth to it, but no, I don't. And the brother said, well, the Israelites in Africa watch us from America. They go to Judah thing again. Says they watch us close, and they actually, you know, they love us. And he was like, it seems that the Israelites in America don't know how we be treated by the natives for hundreds of years. And he also said, and this is the part that got to me, he said that when they see that chart, they feel as though we don't respect them and we exclude them. So the brother was basically saying his feelings was hurt, and I felt terrible because I didn't know what to say. And I said, whenever I talk to my brothers that represent the chart, I'm going to let them know that, because that would mean if that is our family, indeed our Israelite families, and you know, and we actually shunning them, whether it's misdirectly or not, that is a very bad thing, and that's putting a stumbling block up before your brother.
Con. I like to add to that although earlier I did say that a revision of the 12 tribe chart is necessary, but another thing to that is we're also securing our name. It's securing what is ours. It's securing our family, so that no one else out there can claim that they are Israel or take our name again, because they did it before and they're not going to do it again. So I think identifying ourselves is very important.
Yeah,
And if I can add something real quick, you know what I'm saying, not to cut nobody off. It's just that, like I said, I believe there's a lot of truth to the chart. It's not that I'm against it at all, and it's not that I'm 100% with it. But I think the most important thing is to just let our people know that they Israel. It ain't got to be that they got to be a certain tribe or nothing like that. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, the most important aspect is that we, you know, that we the princes of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? You had a point, bro? Real
Yeah,
quick?
I got 2 points. Just want to address what the brother said. How
Brother
that
Mikael, my main man.
yeah, the dude was offended, right? Now I'm gonna show you, because that's why the scripture said you got to go to the highways and byways and bid to the marriage. So when you're out there, it's not like doing a video. A guy gets offended and he can't make his case or plead his case. When you're out there on the highways and byways, you know, you could actually converse and go back and forth and try his spirit to see whether it be of the Most High, like the scriptures say. This is 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." So when we're out there, it might be a so-called guy, a guy who looks like a so-called white man, but his father may go back to Negroid descent. By trying his spirit and dealing with the guy, we'll know, because the scriptures say he gives us spiritual discernment. Okay, and that's to address that. Although I feel where you're coming from with how some people feel excluded, but that's why we're commanded once again to go out here into the midst of the city, and we can plead with guys like that who is going to make his case, because you got to make your case to be in this thing. You got to fight to be in this thing anyway.
Yeah, and you know, just to attest to what the brother was just talking about, like within the last month at our camp, we have a Fulani brother from Senegal come up, a Yoruba brother from Nigeria come up, and it's like, you know, they looking at the sign, they ain't had no problem with it. We let them know, well, you a part of this too. We let them know right then and there, we consider you of somebody that's on this sign. You know, it's somebody who's more importantly of our nation, of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, like he said, that's kind of the importance in how we've been clarifying the chart, dealing personally with these brothers that are dispersed elsewhere from the Americas, letting them know personally on a one-on-one basis. But I see that there's a call to take that even further and to, on a more broad basis, let these brothers know that we view them as our brothers, and they're a part of this as much. We see them as a part of this as much as us, because a lot of them, even though they have kept a lot of their customs intact in certain parts of the diaspora, a lot of people from all over the world that are people that are dispersed are looking to the Israelites in America. You see what I'm saying? They're looking to us. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
we got to keep that in mind.
And real quick, to answer the statement, the latter statement of the brother, you know, he said, you know, sometimes we need, in the big scheme of things, we need to make it more about Israel. And you're 100% correct on that, as opposed to which tribe you're from. This is the last scripture. This is Acts chapter 2, verse 21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words.
Amen.
So I'm 100%. Go ahead, Al.
Con.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry, Panehesi.
I just want to make a quick comment about what the brother Mikael said, and you know, I got the same phone calls and messages from brothers in Africa that said the exact same thing that Mikael said about the Limber brother. But when they called me, it wasn't so much about the chart. It was about people calling all Africans Hamites. And he was expressing to me how that's really offensive, and it'd be better if, you know, if people reach out to them and ask them who they are, who do they claim to be, instead of assuming that everybody are Hamites, because they get real mad about that. You know, Jake, we get real mad about if you call us Hamites.
Yeah,
so they get really pissed off about.
You know what? I gotta piggyback off what Panehesi just said. I got the same. I left that part out. That was one of the first things he said too. And see, that's a misconception we got over here, that everybody over there that's saying Mother Africa really do claim that as their origins. If now a lot of them have taken on pagan practices and added them to their Hebraic practices, but with their oral tradition, they know that they are a holy people. And when you tell them that they're just native Hamites, you actually offend them.
I have a question. This is for anybody to jump on, and this is specifically more to Guerrilla Hebrew. In the movie Hotel Rwanda, which we know was an event that occurred in 1994 between the Hutus and the Tutsis, and it kind of piggybacks what everybody's been talking about as far as how they're not all called Hamitic people. And it's clear because they actually have tribal wars or battles against one another, showing distinction between two different kinds of people or three different kinds of people at different times. So starting with Guerrilla, what is your take on that event? And are either one of them, especially the Tutsis, are they of the remnant of Israel at all?
I don't have that much research about it. At this present moment, I don't believe that either of them are Israelites. I remember there was a live stream that me and Sarnetta did, and he put a brother that was directly from Rwanda on. And it was called Discussing. If you look on my channel, it's up. It's called Guerrilla Hebrew and Israel Doctrine Discuss Hate on Sarnetta TV. That's what it's called. Israel Doctrine that came on later. But basically, you know, Sarnetta was just threw me in the ring with the brother, and the brother was like, "Look, man, you know, I don't, you know, I'm not sure. You know, I don't look at y'all as different and this and that." To me, the spirit and the vibration that I got from the brother, not to say anything, he didn't come at me any type of way, but the spiritual reading I got from him was not that he was an Israelite, it was that he was a Hamite. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just me personally. Where was I going with this? But I mean, it goes in depth, but brothers are right as far as just automatically assuming everybody from Africa is a Hamite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met people from all over Africa, people from South Africa, people from the Congo, and people from West Africa, and people from East Africa. A lot of the Ethiopians I've interacted with, like out here in San Diego, it's a lot of Ethiopians, a lot of Eritreans, a lot of Somalians. They separate themselves from us. They look down on us. They show hatred towards us. They drive by our camp. They say, fuck us. Before they have no idea what we're even talking about. They drive by our camp. The other day, a car full of Ethiopian girls pulled up and said, fuck you, Israelites. You see what I'm saying? And I went to college before when I was in the truth during this period of time, but I hadn't fully started teaching yet. So I was in college, and there was a South African classmate I had. I used to kick it with him a little bit and imbibe his spirit. He was a cool dude, but the spirit I got from him was different than our spirit, and I'll say that he was a Hamite. You see what I'm saying? So like we brought out earlier, we got to try the spirits by the spirits, and also deal with the historical documentation that can attest to who's who. But we know that Ham was an extremely large group of people also. So I would say that the majority of them people that live in Africa are in fact Hamites.
All right,
Hey,
thank you for that, brother.
hey, let me just say something real quick because it's something we also have to realize is that not all people that are Israelites even give off that spiritual vibe of being an Israelite, like in Romans 9:6, where it tells you, "For they are not all Israel, which are of Israel." So we got to keep that in mind also when we're looking at different groups, because we may find some Negroes that don't give off the spirit of being an Israelite at all.
That's true. Hey,
Con to that.
hey, brother Divine, could you introduce yourself and give your opinion on the chart and your critique, if you have any?
Okay, I'll do it. I mean, I was just observing and listening. Um, but what I will say is that I'm very intrigued by a lot of the dialogue that's taking place because it's much needed for us to come to a common consensus in regards to identity, in regards to history. And what I will say is that, for the record, um, I myself don't subscribe to the 12 tribe chart, but at the same time, I don't neglect that there is some truth in the 12 tribe chart. I just think that you have to take everything as a whole before you determine what's true and what's not. And this is what you get, what's called epistemology. And epistemology lines up well with the scriptures because the purpose of it is to know something. You have that word know, yada, in the text all over the place. And when you look at the word yada, how can you discern what somebody knows and what somebody doesn't know? You know what I'm saying? The scripture says in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 16, it says, for us to give a defense or an apologia, to give a verbal defense. That is a legal term, which means that you have to prove your case to somebody and to do so with fear and trembling. So how do you prove your case? When the apostles were walking around in the New Testament, they were proving their case by the things that they empirically received, whether it was something that they touched, that they tasted, that they heard. They used empirical data to validate their experience. Problem is that a lot of times people don't use any kind of method to validate what is known. A lot of it is predisposition based on what they heard, what they were taught, how they were raised. And when you come into a situation where what you are sharing with people or what you're expressing is based on a system of knowledge that has not been verified other than what you believe, then you fall into what's called logical fallacy. So what I'm saying is that we can make the scriptures very spiritual and very knowledgeable. It depends on who we're speaking to. If I'm speaking to a bunch of brothers who are in the truth, then I'm going to be more spiritual in my dealings with them. If I speak to people that's outside of that, I have to be more tactful in regards to what information I can convey. And the 12 tribe chart, from my perspective, is not solid enough for me to present it from somebody from the outside. Now, again, it could be an icebreaker, depending on who it is I'm speaking to. If it's a Native American, if it's a Mexican, it could be an icebreaker. But there's no way that I can validate it outside of the text. You know what I'm saying? There's very little bit of evidence to do so. So, again, I don't knock individuals such as Guerrilla Hebrew when he's out there on the street putting in that work, trying to get brothers and sisters to wise up and get to see their identity. And, again, the chart is a great icebreaker. I just believe that a lot of renovation needs to be done with the chart. I'm not going to say it needs to be thrown out. I will never say that. You know what I'm saying? Because just like what was being mentioned earlier about the Back Creek Stone and things of that nature, there's evidences that there's some element of Semitic thought that was ascribed by the people that were here. My problem is that when we start saying like the Mexicans and the Native Americans are part of the 12 tribe chart, then you'd have to show me a community that predated colonialism where these people were practicing the statutes, laws, and commandments of the Most High. Because we can show in Africa before the transatlantic slave trade, and you can just look up Asaka Muhammad or anybody like Al-Idrisi, who was a cartographer, where they were identifying Hebrew Israelite communities in West Africa, you see, based on the practices that they had, the culture that they had, the language that they were speaking, because they were using cognates of Hebrew, but they were mixing it with the indigenous language as well. So somebody would have to show me in Mexico, somebody have to show me in North America, somebody have to show me like the Taino Indians, show me a settlement of the community prior to colonialism and imperialism where the people were upholding the statute, laws, and commandments of the Most High. It showed me the documentation because I look at the pictographs all the time of the inscriptions of a lot of the Native American tribes, and there are some elements that you can say imply but there's no direct evidence. A lot of that's circumstantial. So somebody would have to show me a settlement where they upheld the statute of the commandments of the Most High, where they understood, okay, this is how we are, so this is our practices. We're going to engrave it in stone, because they should have some knowledge of writing, right? Should know how to write, because a lot of the laymen, they had a version of their script that they even brought with them into places in West Africa. So you'd have to show me a settlement pre-colonialism, a settlement of these Native Americans, Mexicans, Taino Indians of the island, whatever. Show me a settlement where they were practicing the statute of the commandments, that they knew that they had to dress a particular way, they knew that they had to give particular offerings, in the same vein as it is in the text. Not through shamanism, because if you look at shamanism, they gave sacrifices, but it's not in the same manner that was done in the text. So somebody just has to show me some evidence of that. And once they can show that to me, now give me the text and say, okay, this is how the text outlines it, because A, B, and C, this is prophecy being fulfilled. So the more of that empirical evidence that I can see, that I can take in, that will make me more confident to say, okay, you know what, now I have a model, so I can use this model to validate the prophecy that's in the text. This is like when we look at the curses. The curses are designed to look at the condition that we are in here in America. That is a format that we can use, or a model that we can use to kind of validate what the text is saying in regards to how the curses will come upon us, more so than almost any other people in the world. So you'd have to give me a model, and once you show me the model, now show me how the prophecy aligns with that model. And when you can do that, then I can say, you know what, wow, you know what, I'll run with it. So this just goes out to anybody who's subscribed to the 12 Tribes chart. If you can give me historically, anthropologically, and even archaeologically, and even paleography, I need to see the writings as well of a community prior to imperialism and colonialism, where they upheld the statute of the commandments the same way that's in the Torah, point by point. And if you can show me that, because I can show you several communities in West Africa that have done it and that still are doing it. If you can show me that here in the Western Hemisphere, then I'll say, you know what, you got me. You can kind of convince or persuade me.
Yeah, I think that the challenge that you just laid out is the best and most healthy thing for the Hebrew Israelite community at large right now. That's what we need to do. I've been doing research and compiling it to a degree, so that's something that I've been working on. So it's spiritual that's even what you said. That is what needs to happen. History needs to be paired, like you said, with prophecy. All these various disciplines need to be paired with the prophecy and cohesively knitted together in a way that illustrates the point. And if it can't illustrate the point, then more scrutiny is in line. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that's what we need to do. Like we were saying earlier before you got on, we're in the age of information. Like the scriptures say, knowledge and wisdom is increasing. We have so much information at our fingertips. We need to exhaust our resources in educating ourselves and proving these things that we believe in. Like you and Polite spoke about with the term of belief, stemming back etymologically in the Greek and also in the Hebrew to the term persuasion, and dealing with things of concrete confirming things that persuade us to believe. We don't just have blind faith in the Most High. There are plenty of things in this world that solidify and confirm our belief in the Most High. So some more concrete things coupled with the spiritual aspect of the scriptures is definitely needed to get put forth. And those of us brothers that do subscribe to the chart, like myself, it's our job to go do these things. You see what I'm saying? We can't just expect everybody to believe every damn thing we say. You see what I'm saying? And I think that there's a spirit of laziness and docileness where certain brothers are acting as if everybody just needs to accept what we're talking about. No, we got to prove it. The burden of proof is on us. We making these claims. So it's our job to go out and prove these things. And if you're serious about what you believe, do your due diligence and do it, because I know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, I'm going to do it. You see what I'm saying? So we all need to get together and do it and work cohesively and produce this information so everybody can be like, you know what? I criticize the chart, but damn, I mean, them niggas is making a compelling-ass argument right now. You see what I'm saying? Not just a conjecture. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I was going to add on to that, and I will say, even for me, somebody who does not fully subscribe, if you said, hey, Divine, yo, can you give me some resources in regards to Native Americans, and I'm going to sift through it, because if we can find more evidences or archaeology, such as the Backtree Stone and things of that nature, and even some customs by going onto these reservations and interviewing these Native Americans, if we can pull that information together and as a nation look at it and say, okay, you know what? Well, yeah, we can revise it because actually Zebulon is really this tribe. Before we thought it was this one, but it's actually this one. This is why we didn't have enough evidence. So my thing is, I don't knock anybody for whatever conviction that they have. My thing is, how can I better equip you to present that to an audience who are not people of faith? You know what I'm saying? And that's number one. And me and Guerrilla vibe on that. But the second issue that I have, and I don't think it's with Guerrilla too much per se, it may be, but it's when we start to deny that there are some Shemites that are amongst the Hamites in Africa. Now, spiritually, when we talk about discerning, that's very important because, like the brothers were saying earlier, there are some brothers that'll take offense if you call them a Hamite because they will show you through their customs, their language, their practices that they are Shemites, that they're from the lineage of Abraham. But the problem is that when we say that a majority of those people there are solely Hamites, which I don't disagree with, because if you look at a lot of the indigenous practices, the Shemites or the quote-unquote stock of Abraham that's amongst the people in Africa is not the majority. I mean, they're just not the majority. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter which one of these tribes that we looked at, whether it's the Igbo, the Yoruba, whether it's even the Beta Israel, they are all the minority in the places that they are habiting. So they're not the majority. So again, we would have to take a position and say, you know what, I'm not going to draw a straw man. And let's say, for example, Guerrilla, let's say that one of those Ethiopian dudes or one of those African dudes would say, yo, F you, all that to you, and you took time to sit down with them and you spoke to them and they say, you know what, my family came from this tribe and they consider themselves Shemites, but I don't. You understand what I'm saying? So some people may have that perverse spirit where they may completely deny their heritage based on a bad experience, based on not enough information. Maybe their parents wasn't able to show them the anthropological record, the migration record. Maybe they weren't able to dive into the scriptures and show them their identity of who they were, and they outrightly rejected it and they took on another spirit. Because the scripture tells us about different spirits that come into place when we don't have the spirit of the Most High. So I think that what we should do instead of drawing straw men is do more complete investigation. This is why I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. That's why you'll never hear Divine completely condemning somebody, say, no, that's wrong, get out of here with that. I'm like, yo, let's take the time, let's look through the evidence, and if there's something there, I'll give it to you. And I said, you know what? You can have that. I won't bang on it because, yo, if I can assist you to do your job better to get this word out to our people who are lost, I'm with it. And that has to be the mentality of all of us. Even if we don't agree, at the end of the day, if we are Israel, we should have each other's back to a certain degree. You feel what I'm saying? So even though I may not push the 12 tribes part, I'll help Guerrilla in his studies. If he needs anthropological information, if he needs some archaeology, I'll give it to him. I say, here, this is what I did, because like I have a trip that I'm doing in 2 months. I'm going to 3 different Indian reservations, and I'm going to interview them in regards to the statute, laws, and commandments. Because it's one thing to have this type of discussion. It's another thing to have primary evidence and testimony from the people that are there. You understand what I'm saying? To ask them that, because a lot of them had intermingled with the slaves. You see? So there may be a spirit that is alignment with one another, but the only way to do it is do primary research and to actually go in the field and interview the people and say, hey, you know, I see that looking at the record of your tribe that you interface with a lot of African, so-called African Americans. You know, did you see any similarities in the practices that they had? You know, maybe through the Negro spirituals, and you had something cognitive in your language or a song. And once we extract this information, now we can bring it to people and say, hey, you know what, you're right about this, or you know what, you're wrong about it.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
young Elihu.
Also,
Young
too,
Elihu.
to piggyback off
Real quick,
Yeah.
I just want to say something about the Indian reservation real quick. That you said that there's actually a brother that comes to my classes that lives on the Nez Perce reservation right now, and he's been dealing with different other elders, and the first thing we're doing is comparing the languages. He's coming in with Nez Perce words, and we comparing the languages, and doing it like that to see how many similarities there is between the Hebrew language and the Nez Perce. So that's great that you're doing that, and we definitely need to start ramping up our primary resources. And for the record, I'm not somebody that denies our brothers on the continent at all. Our people are definitely, especially in Africa and and elsewhere. Just so you understand that.
also too to piggyback
Okay, I'll go after you then, Panehesi.
To piggyback off what Brother Divine just said about we should be giving, if we have the information, we should give it to our people regardless of how we feel about the chart. And Brother Guerrilla Hebrew can attest to this. When I first got the book A Star in the West, I had a free PDF copy. I gave it to him because I know there was a lot of information in there that could help him with substantiating his claim about the Native Americans being Hebrews. I didn't hold that back from from him or from anybody. You know what I'm saying? He can attest to that. You know, so don't. I don't want nobody to think that Panehesi is just gun ho about just, you know what I'm saying, turning the whole 12 tribes to Pan-African RPG Hebrews. That's not the case.
Yo,
But I
shalom.
just, could I
Good.
say, could I
Yes,
say
sir. Go ahead.
something? Could I say
Yo,
something?
I'm trying.
I definitely. Oh, my fault, bro. I was trying to sneak in there after Panehesi. It's gonna be quick. My brother, my little brother, Ron Divine Prospect, man. What's up, young Elihu? This your big bro, Mikael, man.
What's up, Elder Mikhail? How you doing? How come I can't see
Hey,
your face, yo? What's up? I want to see that crown that you wear, man.
nah, man. No
Hey,
clowning today. No
hey, where
clowning
the
today.
halo at? I like the halo. He was rocking the halo.
No, I gotta humble myself, man. I've been getting a little outside myself. But look, right. Yeah, man, you know, every time I hear Ron Divine Prospect speak, man, he make me I want to just jump on here with a 92 letter word, boy, but no, I ain't gonna embarrass myself like that. But comparing what you were saying and what Guerrilla Hebrew was saying, I want to say to Guerrilla Hebrew, I think we could sit down one day and really dissect this, because it's something else too that that's been on my mind. The brothers in my circle know I've brought this up before, and they said I've made some real archaeological and historical points, and that was we have to deal with the fact that there was ancient Phoenicians in the Americas that looked just like us. There were ancient Phoenicians here, so sometimes when you see Hebrew writing, or what you assume to be Hebrew writing in Mexico, Utah, or Arizona, you can't automatically assume that those people were Israelites, but you could say that they were Phoenicians. And being that Phoenician, Canaanite, and Israel in Hebrew were almost identical in writing style, you find a lot of these things. Like when you look at the fact that King Solomon had fleets, and it's no secret when you do your history that we know that Solomon fleets was known, but the thing about it, Israelites were never a navy people. The Phoenicians were. So it will always make sense that if there were Phoenicians under Solomon's rule, he was in peace. So he would have sent them to scout, and it's pretty sure that it would be some Hebrews or some Israelites amongst them. So we have to bring that into fact. For the simple fact, I know I was doing some research about 8 or 9 years ago, and I was seeing all of the similarities in the ancient Phoenician artifacts that they found in America. And one thing was, I stumbled across something that was showing that there was a lot of them in Arizona. And I was sitting there, and the Most High just sent a light bulb up in my head, like, what is the name of the major city in Arizona? Phoenix. And then I thought about it, went back and looked, and I'm like, they used to call people from Phoenix Phoenicians. I said, okay, so it's a lot of stuff. Man, it's a history out there. I could dig up some rocks, man. But one more thing. Talking about what we were saying earlier, Ron Divine Prospect brought it up on how you can offend somebody if you automatically assume that maybe they're a Hamite or something like that when they know that they're Shemitic people. I don't know if y'all remember the movie Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. Y'all remember that movie, right?
Yeah, that was a great movie. I actually have it in my library.
Yeah, yes,
That
it
was
was.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
And you know what's funny about that movie? I've been in the Word, man. I've been knowing I was Israel for 2 decades now. It just made 20 years. But there's certain things that I've watched and I just didn't turn my spiritual eye on. But then I have my spiritual eye on and see that same movie, and I would peep something in it that I never saw before. And in that movie, Tears of the Sun, y'all realize what was going on? They actually said it throughout the whole movie. The native Hamites were trying to eradicate the evil. That's what it was about. The brother who they was trying to kill off his bloodline, and he was a prince. He was a prince of the Eagles. And I had watched that movie. Yeah, I had watched the movie 4 or 5 times and never noticed that. And I noticed they kept calling him something. They said, no, they're Ebus, and he's a prince. He's one of the last of the royal bloodline. And they're trying to kill off his blood. Bruce Willis was trying to save him or save his bloodline. And I said, wow, the Most High is showing us that they ain't got it that good over there either. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to bring that point up.
Oh yeah, if you look
Excellent point, man.
if you look at the Biafra Wars, that stuff was crazy. I mean, a lot of people got got slaughtered in those wars. I think that movie is based off the Biafra Wars, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I've heard of those wars from an elder, but I never really did no deep research on it. So I'm gonna have to go on back and jump back off into that. So thanks for bringing
And
that up.
what I was saying on top of what you said, Mikhail, and about the Phoenicians, I agree because remember, Hiriam was from Tyre. Tyre is in Phoenicia, right? So they went and they got a lot of their material there, their workmen from their Solomon when they did the temple, and they were known as being merchants and seafarers, and they did travel far distances. You know what I'm saying? So when we do see a lot of these writings, Phoenician scripts that are here in America, that does not automatically make it Hebrew, because like I tell people all the time, you have to give a time frame, you have to give chronology. And a lot of things that I see that a lot of Hebrews fail to do is give exact numbers or estimate numbers so they can kind of define a time period. So, for example, you know, when somebody says that Abraham was around during the time of Khufu, when that pyramid was created, and let's say we have a rough estimate on when Khufu was around, if that's the case, and then now let's say, for example, you say that Phoenicians or Hebrew Israelites came here before that time period, then they're not Hebrews. You see, so you have to give an indicator in regards to time because the codified statute laws and commandments of the Most High was not given until the Exodus, or after the Exodus, and then it came within a Levitical law. There was a system that was in existence prior to that, but it wasn't codified until they came within the wilderness and came into the land. So now you have to talk about time periods. If these are Hebrews, at what time period did they come over here? Because if they came over here before that was established, that codified law was established, then were they really practicing the statute, law, and commandments of the Torah as you know it? So we have to give time, you know, something tangible, something concrete as an indicator if we're going to convey this information to somebody that does not have the same faith-based system that we do. And this is something that I continue to encourage brothers to not to be afraid of the science, not to be afraid of primary research, of interviewing and looking at the language and the archaeology, but to get this to validate the claims that you make, because you'll see it'll make you more confident when you're sharing information. Because what I've learned is that the more concrete evidence you provide, the less you have to argue your case. See, that's called inductive reasoning. When you're taking something that's concrete and showing people the fact and then working it towards a conclusion, as opposed to having a belief about something and having difficulty working from your belief and finding different clues or facts to support it. So when we find a means of conveying our stance based on this methodology, you'll see that it's much easier to convey or be confident in what it is that you present, because you don't have to do circular reasoning. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to make any straw man arguments, because all you do is presenting the facts, and now the other person has the burden of proof to try and refute those facts. And that way you can just be quiet. So that's why when I ask, listen, just show me your community, or show me this, or show me that, I'm asking them for what's called the concrete methodology of them verifying their claim, as opposed to just going based on belief on what somebody has taught them.
I
Hey,
agree with that. And that's the
What
reason
about the
why I said
Sudanese?
that a revision is necessary so that we can follow the evidence rather than a belief that can lead to circular arguments. Because that's basically what we're running into. And we need to avoid that so that we can secure our knowledge and in turn secure our people and educate them a lot better.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
My aunt was saying something to me. Who was that?
That was Jashub.
That was yeah.
Where's he at? Yeshua, you there? You there?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, do you know about the Sioux Indians?
About the what?
The Sioux Indians and how they made priests, and their priests wore pomegranates and bells on their borders.
Yes, and when we look at a lot of garments, we say that these were fringes and so forth. But when you ask those priests themselves, and I actually did interview one about 2 years ago, they will tell you that it's linked to shamanism and it's not more so towards. The reason why the fringes were there was to be a reminder of the statute, law, of the commandments, so that way we don't forget. That's why you have the blue border, the deep beats. When you ask them that, they don't say that it's to remind them based on the statute, law, of the commandments. So the only issue is that when you start to interview them and do primary research, you'll see that there are some things that we may imply will convey to us that, oh, yo, they're Hebrew Israelite, they're high priests, but when you actually interview them, they'll say it's something different. Now, could this mean that over the course of generations, the original meaning is different than what it is today. It's the same thing with language. You have etymons, which is the origin of a word that comes mostly from other syntax of languages, and then over time it gets a connotation to today. I believe that a lot of them, even though they may have these fringes or may have a priesthood system, it all stemmed from a common ancestor, and as time progressed, you know, it turned into something different. You have a different connotative meaning behind what it is. So you'd have to find a way to trace the dots for them and say, hey, you know, in this culture over here, over X amount of years ago, before migration took place over here into North America, this is what was being taught. See, there's a way that you can trace the breadcrumbs to get them up to the mountaintop. But when you ask them initially, instead of trying to build a rapport and trying to convey to them the evidence of certain migration patterns, certain archaeological items that they may possess and not understand where it originated from, you can make a better case to them to accept the fact that, yeah, well, you know what? There might have been a point in time where it did mean this. But as we move to this landmass, things change because our environment changed. The culture changed. So you have to find a way, again, through epistemology to get an understanding of how something is known. How is it known? Is it through acquaintance knowledge? Is it because of something that you're familiar with or a degree of intimacy? Is it propositional knowledge where you're using a premise of evidence to present your case? Okay? Is it acquaintance knowledge or procedural knowledge? I'm sorry, where because you have a particular routine, you'll say this is what something is because I've developed a skill by learning this type of skill set or something that I've acquired. You have to be able to determine how something is known. So if I ask the high priest, hey, you know, you have fringes, you have this and that, and they tell me something different, how can I prove to him that maybe he's a lost Israelite and he doesn't know? See, if I don't know enough about his particular tribe and his history in regards to how they migrated, I can't prove to them. If they say to me, hey, you know, we came over here in ships, because some Indian tribes will tell you they came over here in ships. They'll tell you that. So now you got to link it and say, okay, if they feel that it's the ships, ask them what does the architecture like? Do they have any writings of it? Can they describe it? And then we go back to the Phoenician ships and say, hey, look, it's similar. You see, this, you guys, at this point, this is what the story was. But when we trace it through science, we can show them that, hey, you guys actually came from this land of what we call known today as Palestine. So you have to have a methodology to be able to convey whatever point you're trying to prove to them or get them to prove to you. And this way we can take that information and bring it to academia and say, hey, stop lying to our people because the 12 tribe chart is true because we have enough evidence to persuade you to believe otherwise.
And also,
excellent.
Also, too, when you look at the when you look at Native when you look at Native Americans, oh my bad.
You gonna finish it up, Jasub, or you done? 'Cause I know you was trying to ask him something else.
Go ahead, Panehesi.
Now I want to make a quick statement. When you look at the Native Americans, they hold dear to their customs and their history. The little of it they do have left from the Europeans coming and committing genocide on them. So they stick really close to their heritage and their customs. It's really dear to them. So when we do conduct that kind of research, we want to make sure that we don't offend them when we do that.
Hey, I want to say something.
Panehesi, it doesn't matter if you see. That's why I disagree with most majority of the people on this panel, man. The scripture said if you have Christ, you're not going to be offended, man. So I don't know why we keep bringing out this word offended. If they offended, they're just offended.
They're talking strictly from the perspective of approaching their culture and understanding so that we'll have the science to make a definite claim. But we got to understand that it's just doing the homework. We're just doing the field work.
Okay, but we got to understand that they mix the Syrian and Egyptian practices along with Hebraic practices as well. We got to understand that's what the 10 tribes did. That's why
what you're doing though is you're speaking from the perspective of assuming.
We're speaking on the perspective of the Bible.
What Divine was saying is that we cannot come from the point of assumption. We have to come from the point of science so that we can make the definite claim. So the 12 tribes today. Go ahead, Laurent.
I want to say something real quick and touch on some things. I don't know if the brothers probably touched on it already before I came in, but when you look at if you're dealing with the theology of the Bible, when you look at Noah and them, then you look at his sons, you got to understand this was the first man that actually built a boat, a ship, according to the biblical text, right? So when you look at his sons that came from him, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and then their sons, and then you look about 100 years after that, we see Nimrod coming into Shinar, and then we see
What is LeBron talking about?
I have no clue.
graves and
What is LeBron talking about?
How is he gonna speak on this topic, bro? You don't even believe he Israelite. That's the only
hey,
thing
you show.
Please.
Come on,
Hey,
bro. Stop.
brothers.
All
I
right,
encourage you to
give
keep
it
give
on
him some
topic.
time. Give him some time. Let's see him work his premise. Go ahead, LeBron.
The Byzantine.
Yeah, go ahead, LeBron.
Let him go. Let's let the Byzantine.
Go ahead, LeBron.
Well, the truth is, we know the brother is an Israelite regardless, so he got just as much as a right to speak on it as everybody else here.
He followed Torah. Hey, you follow Torah, don't you, LeBron?
You don't believe in the Old Testament.
He followed Torah.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This
You're
brother don't
LeBron.
have,
I
this
think
brother
we
don't
stand
have
all
the,
way.
the credentials to speak about this, man.
house with no foundation.
LeBron, you there?
LeBron followed Torah.
No, he don't eat pork. He
I
eat
think he was
pork.
saying.
Hey, okay. Let's not go into all of that. Let LeBron continue his.
No, we need to go into that, man.
LeBron,
Well, hold
where
on.
you
This
at?
is the place for the 12 tribe chart. It's not a place to scrutinize what LeBron believes or don't believe in. It's
How you gonna talk about the 12 tribe chart if you not? Okay, brothers, y'all can.
Right. Hold on, Joshua. Don't get it misunderstood. I'm for talking about these things, but I'm saying that when we do that, we kind of go down a rabbit hole. Yeah. I'm just trying to avoid going down that rabbit hole. I understand your point, but
because a Chinese person could come on here and give accurate information on everything.
But listen, this brother called Amalek. Wait, he called Amalek Ishmael when he descended from Edom, not Ishmael. So bro, it's not credible, man.
Yo, LeBron, are you there? LeBron, are you there, brother? What you can talk, speak, brother. I think he's gone.
Hey, look how he's sitting in that chair though. Like, he's looking at y'all.
Hey yo, Alvin. But on a serious note, this ain't no knock on LaRon, because I got much love for LaRon.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, when we talking about a certain topic that applies to someone who has to have a certain belief behind certain things, like when you're talking about this 12 tribe chart, it's going into something that pertains to someone who defines themselves as Israel and not someone outside. Now, I believe he can come with a bunch of accurate information. I'm not trying to knock him on that, and I would love to hear what he got to say. I'm just saying, when Jasub makes his point, I kind of feel where he coming from. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree. But and another thing that we have to take into account, because I agree with what y'all saying, and this is why I wanted to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt, is that you have something called guilt by association, and this is a logical fallacy. So that means that even though he may have a particular stance, if he provides information that is pertinent to the subject matter, then we should not take into account what he believes if he's given to us objectively. Now, if he's given to us subjectively, based on, let's say, a paradigm of thought that has no bearing on the subject matter, then yeah, we can refute it and kick him out. But he may present something that may assist what we're talking about. We don't know, because now he's like a mime. He's not saying nothing now. I don't know what happened to him.
Look at him. Yeah, because look how he's
on here, but here's the problem. First off,
there you go. Go ahead,
you know, the guys, you know, they
get him, LeBron.
There you go. Let's get him.
Come on, Alvin, man, let me speak. The disrespect, man, that shows, man, that why it's just disrespect, man, and y'all need to cut it out, man. That's why nobody don't be dealing with the camps, because y'all just disrespectful, man. First off, let me speak. Number one is, a lot of these guys don't really deal with historical events. They move stuff around their own premise when they dealing with the biblical text. But what I was bringing out was this. When you look at the Nakata 2 period and you look at the sons of Noah, we know that they know how to make ships. That's evident. One of the reasons why we know is because when you look at in Canaan East in the Nakata II period, and also dealing with Flinders Petrie when he excavated in Nakata. Now, when you deal with these areas, you find pottery with ships on it. But then when you go into Canaan East, when you go into the Eastern Desert, and you look on the rock art, you find ships with crews on it. Now, here's the thing. You find trading all the way in the 4th millennium, things of like lapis lazuli and all types of domesticating animals around these times just as well. So we know that these people was dealing with ships, or they was dealing with crews, and then we find also evidence for us the Gebel El Barak knife, Gebel El Arak knife. When we find all this information, we people having you got Creolithic, and then you also have high prow boats just as well. Now here's the problem. Now when you look at the text in Genesis chapter 10, chapter you did the Most High scattered them upon all the face of the earth. Right after basically when they language was confounded. So if they were scattered all upon the face of the earth, did it ever come to anybody's mind that these people had the technology or had the type of ability to come to this side? Because the Most High said he scattered them all to the face of the earth. Now what I believe scattered them is
Hey, can I respond to that one part real quick? Can I respond to one part?
Hold on. You can't. Hold on. You can say something, but can I finish?
After LeBron. James, you next.
All right. Let me write it down so I can keep track.
I'm at the James.
Yeah. So we see the ability of these people coming. We see the ability of these people coming into these areas basically and having the equipment to do so, to domesticate animals, to trade. This is in the 4th millennium. So we got to look at those things, and then we can't just leave out Genesis chapter 11 when he said he spreaded them all to the face of the, upon all the face of the whole earth.
Are you done?
So are you validating the 12 tribes? I'm not talking. I just want to ask. So are you validating the 12 tribes?
I don't validate it at all because it's not solid. And then not only that is when you deal with the 12
I thought I was supposed to go.
Hold on. The chart should be dealing with Isaiah 11. Why don't nobody mention Isaiah 11?
Because
Isaiah 11 got them. Isaiah 11 got them in the last days, coming from Egypt, Pathros, Arabia,
but
in these areas coming back into the land. That's the chart right there.
Okay, cool. Now, if I can make my one point. Now, when you talking about Genesis, when God spanned them over the whole face of the earth, he tells you exactly where he sent them to, though. Like, it tells you in the text exactly the areas they went. It tells you where Ham went, it tells you where Shem went, and it tells you where the sons of Japheth went.
Yep.
And none of them went over the ocean.
Yep.
But then I know you don't ascribe to to the Apocrypha, but then Second Esdras tells you that the 10 tribes, not all of them, but a group of them came together and went to a land never before inhabited by man. But when you got Asia, Europe, and Africa was already inhabited by man.
Mm.
Exactly.
Hold on. So are you telling me Azareth is America? Is that what you saying?
He didn't say that.
So where's your evidence for that? Where's your evidence for that? Point that. Put that. Post that.
You. Okay.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yo, I had a point. I've been trying to bring a point about what he's talking about. The whole thing about how the tribes came to the other side of the Western Hemisphere. Like, this is the question I want to propose to y'all. How do y'all think the Hispanic or the Latino tribes came to the western part of the hemisphere? Because you got people believing in the Bering Strait, and I got documentations that'll crush the Bering Strait theory. Because I know the Latinos did not come through no Bering Strait. Because brothers already proved that no human being could survive going through the Bering Strait. So now we got to come out with another conclusion of how these Latinos came to this other side of the world.
Well, when you when you say Latino, I don't mean to cut you off. You have to define what you're talking about because Latino is a composite. It's not just the
Well,
Taino Indians. You have some of the Negroes that were mixing in with them. You have some of the Spaniards that was mixing. So are you talking about just the Taino Indians
yeah,
aspect? Or
right. I'm talking about Taino and Arawak descent. Yes, the original indigenous people that was here before the Spaniards came, before the Negroes came. I'm talking about the Aboriginals that was here, indigenous.
Now let me
Before,
ask you a question. So when you say the Bering Strait, because I don't believe everybody over here came from the Bering Strait, or can you give us an indicator as far as time when the quote-unquote theory of the Bering Strait crossing occurred? Because if we're talking about it happened 27,000 years ago,
yeah,
then
exactly.
that means that the Bering Strait it was in a much different condition than it was today.
But yeah, but if you're gonna bring the whole time date, we already know that there's no such thing as 20,000 years. Because when you read the scriptures, the earth is no older than 12,000 years.
Well,
According
that's
to
doctrine. That's doctrine, and
Hey,
I
Divine.
respect that. I'm not.
well,
Hey,
well, you know,
I'm
you
asking.
coming up.
Divine, how do you prove anything higher, any date higher than 6,000 years? Because you could just easily go
See,
to
now,
Adam.
Let's stay on the
The
12
conversation,
tribes.
Look,
We
let me
want to
tell you
get
something.
all
Because
I think
the
the
other
discussion is
if
going
we
off
want to
to
talk
another
about
area. Can we?
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
that's what
wait.
I'm saying. Because if we talk about time, you're gonna hit 12,000, and that depends on which camp you're from. And I can tell you which camp taught you based on that 12,000 theory. You can get 6,000, which is young Earth creationists. Then you have theistic evolutionists who believe evolution was something enacted by the Most High, and this is gonna take us off course. But your point or the premise or the principle you were saying is that if we keep saying that migration only happened via the Bering Strait, the point that you're making is that that's erroneous. So we have to find another alternative on how it got here. And I think that's what we've been touching on as far as ships being made and ships coming over. So we're not all saying that it was just through migration of the Bering Strait that the natives came here. We're actually touching on ships being made and coming over here. Even some firsthand testimony from the natives who say they came over here in ships. My question to the panel is this. If we was presenting this information, let's say we subscribe to the 12 trial chart, right? And let's say we were presenting this information to somebody who is an unbiased non-believer. And let's say we were to express to them, hey, you know, the 12 tribe chart was here because they sailed over here and the Most High revealed himself to them and they still had our customs and traditions. And let's say that a Mormon came to them and was giving them the great price, giving them doctrines and covenants, giving them the Book of Mormon, and teaching them a very similar doctrine. How do you make the distinction? Because a person will be kind of confused. So this is just throwing it out there to us to try, and this has to do with the 12 tribe chart. How do we verify our claim more so than, let's say, somebody else like Mormonism who makes a similar claim that the Native Americans made up those who came from the tribes of Israel, and that Yahushua or Yahweh, how we want to name him, came over here and revealed a gospel to confirm to them that they had to come back into the covenant? How do we make that distinction as Israelites between other people that are making similar claims?
And mind you, Joseph Smith came about learning that from a similar
Hey, brothers, I think we're going on. I think James, did you want to say something, or I believe you were cut off?
Yeah, but I ain't even finished saying what I was saying though.
Hey, hold on real quick, Dustin. All I was gonna say was according to the biblical text, and if we're gonna base it off the biblical text, there was no human beings before 6,000 years ago. So it's hard to go back that far if we're gonna be believers in the biblical text, unless you say it's allegory.
Yeah, but you see, my whole thing when Divine Prospect brought up the whole thing about the Barren Strait being 27,000 years, the reason why I refuted that because when you know, just to get off the top, I don't want to get off the topic, but just dealing with the whole thing with the 10 tribes chart, because this is substantial for it to be in contact with what we're dealing with, because we got to deal with timeline as well. So my whole point is, as far as dealing with the age of the earth, it can't be no longer than 12,000 years, because the oldest tree on this planet Earth, which is the bristlecone tree, is only 10,000 years, man. So that's how we know, man. That,
how did they date that tree?
Something with an end.
They date it because when you count the rings on the tree, you could tell by the date The
Hey,
scientists.
tell
Well,
You
I
gotta
understand
count the
that you're
rings on
from
the
a
finger,
scientific
man.
I'm not gonna
viewpoint.
like
That's
that.
how
I
you date. That's how
understand
you
Hey,
that
let
date
me
from a
ask y'all a
scientific
quick
viewpoint.
question.
Hold
Can
on,
I
hold
ask
on.
y'all a
You're
quick
treating
question?
Hey, we gotta
you're treating you
respect
can't
the
date.
We get it. We
show
get
you
it.
how
We
it
get it,
Moderator,
man.
who's the
You
moderator?
might need to mute their mic, man.
Who's the
Okay, okay,
moderator?
I just muted because
okay. On a scientific
Oh,
standpoint,
my bad. My bad. I apologize, y'all. I didn't even know I was unmuted. My bad.
All right, I just want to get back to what I was saying, man, because I know everyone wants to just jump in. But I forget about that. I was just talking about as far as dealing with how the 10 tribes came over here, because you got a lot of brothers that are part of the wave of the 12 tribes anti-chart of saying that, yeah, they came through the Bering Strait. They ain't came through the Euphrates River. You know what I'm saying? There were Eskimos coming from Siberia, this, that, and the third. Like, I'll be hearing all these theoretical perspectives from other people. But when you get deep into the history, man, like some brothers say, oh yeah, the Israelites went from a year and a half from the Euphrates River to somewhere in Mesopotamia, but that's impossible. It can't take a year and a half for 10 tribes to go from the Euphrates River or wherever they was at during the time of the Assyrian Empire to go into Africa or to go anywhere in the eastern part of the hemisphere. It just don't add up. So the only conclusion that could add up from being a year and a half from the 10 tribes breaking off from the Assyrian Empire from the Euphrates River has to be with the history of them coming to the western part of the hemisphere. Also, it has to be America, man.
so why is Australia?
Well, hold on. It took the wise man. It took the wise man to convoy and meet up under the star damn near 2 years to come from Mesopotamia, come from the east. So what do you mean?
that's true.
Man, we're talking about boats. We're talking
Yeah,
about
but
coming on boats.
Hold on.
Man.
Hold on. Hold on. Now here's another problem too. I just posted the chart, the real chart, in the chat. I want y'all to take a look at Isaiah 11, and that's something that you got to explain. And if you can't explain,
Okay, listen, LeBron, when you talk about Isaiah 11, you got to give us a time frame. Is this now, or are we talking about eschatology? Are we talking about an incident in the future that has not occurred yet, or now? Because Isaiah 11 also talks about the lamb and the lion lying down together. Is that happening today?
Yes.
That's not coming. That's not happening today. If I put a lion and a lamb together,
Isaiah
the lion
11
gonna
has
maul
not
them up.
happened yet. Isaiah 11
Right.
has not happened yet.
So
Right.
what is your point?
It says when he turned his hand and he
Point.
returned. It says once he stretched forth his hand and gathered them again.
So what's your point? I'm trying to understand about now with
In
the
other words,
native.
my point is this: when he gathers them again, look at the areas where he gathered them from. He doesn't gather
You're saying
them.
there's nobody going to be brought from America?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that the majority that you look at of the countries that you look at that's there, the 10 tribes is gathered from over there. Read the
Right.
text.
But LeBron, I think what he's saying is that we're talking about the relevance of a 12 tribe chart in the present time. You're talking about where they're going to be gathered in eschatology in the future. So what you're saying kind of sounds irrelevant to what we're trying to locate them today.
No, it's not. No, hold on. Listen, brother. It's not irrelevant because number one is if he's gathering them from them areas in the future, that means that we or Yah will have to be in those areas.
So you're going to move. Are you saying
let me
that
break it down
everybody in
like this.
America who are Israelites are
We're
going to
trying
end
to
up
we're
in the
looking
Eastern
for
Hemisphere? Okay. Go ahead.
Get a little,
Yeah, but you
get,
see,
get a
The
little
best bet is
order.
this:
Get a little
read the
order.
text. Read the
Hey,
text. That's the best bet.
Hey,
LeBron, man,
it was nice and
Isaiah
orderly
chapter
there,
11 is
brother.
talking about last day prophecies, man. That's talking about when Yahweh Shah comes back, man, and gathers the elect. That's not talking about a second
Hold
time.
on. Look where he gathered them from. How
Oh,
are you
hold
gonna
on,
get to that spot,
LeBron.
brother?
hey, can I speak real quick, please?
The Byzantine.
Now the scriptures also tell us that there will be gathered from the four winds, which means all over the world, not one specific area. Yeah, it may name
Yes.
some areas in the scripture, but that doesn't mean those are the only areas.
Okay,
that
well
they're gonna
since
be
you're
gathered
talking
from.
about scripture, grab a spot then. Why you ain't grab a verse? Read the verse since you're talking about
All
scripture.
right, let's read it. I'll break it down to you. Go ahead, let's read
James,
it, man.
Break it down.
give him that work.
Look,
I mean,
I think it's very simple. We're talking. LaRon is talking about the basket. We're
Hold
talking
on,
Hold on, Yahweh. Let them read
I
the
think
verse.
hold
That's what
on.
they need
Now
to do.
wait a minute. Hold on, I got an announcement to make. I might take this offline because I don't want Divine to chop up LaRon like he did last time live.
No.
Hey,
Hey,
no.
let him be that sacrificial lamb,
I
man.
might take it off.
Let him be that sacrificial lamb. He
Oh,
opened his mouth, let him get it.
Hey, yo, on the serious.
He got evil to teach of his doings, man.
Oh,
You gotta hold them brothers accountable.
Hey,
back to the subject.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is
back
the
to
order.
back to
Grab
the
that
look,
text.
look, this is my
hey,
whole
back to
point,
the
man.
subject. Back to the
okay.
subject.
Yeah,
Look,
order.
Mikael trying to say something. Let Mikael talk right quick.
look, I
Hey,
got
back
a.
to the subject that
All
we
right,
was
we're
trying
gonna get back
to
on that subject, of course, because
discuss. Hold fast, bro. I mean, you've been talking for a long time. But look, right. What I'm saying is back to the subject that was at hand before it got all off track. The brother bringing up Isaiah 11:11 because he's bringing up the fact that if you look at all those countries in Syria, they're all from the tip of Western Asia all the way down to through the west coast of Africa, where it stopped right before the west coast of Africa. And then at the bottom of it, it picks up and says the islands of the sea, which would be us over here. So I think that's why he brought that up to make it relevant. But back to what
Exactly.
Ron Divine Prospect said, I mean, that make a lot of sense. When you bringing this information to somebody, you got to bring the scripture to back it up. You got to bring some historical evidence that collaborate with the scripture. As if not, we got a bogus 12 tribes chart floating around that say that the tribes are in Judah. I mean, the tribes are in Britain and Dutch. Have y'all seen that chart they made? The fake
Hey,
Judah?
it's history on that, and I'm gonna talk. I ain't got all of it, so I don't want to go deep in detail about it. But in the medieval times, there's history for that.
Yeah, but you know,
What about the tribes that stayed back and then they leave out into 136
Hey,
AD?
LaRon. Let me just deal with what you put out there first. I don't like jumping all over the place.
Please
All right.
go to that
So I'm
text.
gonna deal with the return. Hold up. I'm gonna deal with the return of the Son of Man. But
Please
I'm not
deal
gonna
with
go
it for him,
to the
James. Please deal with it.
Hey, can y'all please? Hey, can I talk real quick?
Please read that
Hey,
scripture.
LaRon, can you be quiet, man? You're a cow, man. You just get to yelling. Be quiet for a second. I'm not gonna go where you want to go. I'm gonna go to another scripture because that's just where you
See what
want.
I'm saying? This is the
Hey,
verse. He ain't gonna go where I want to
Come
go.
on, shut the hell up, man. Shut the hell up. You do this every time. Let the brother speak.
I don't have to answer
James, read the scripture.
Is this live? This brother said he ain't gonna go where I went.
LaRon, what's your piece, bro?
We're gonna get back to it. James, go ahead, James.
Please.
Oh, reprobate ass nigga, man.
funny, man.
Everybody be quiet for me, but me for a second, please.
Go ahead, James.
Because all scriptures are good for edifying, not just one particular one.
True.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read what Jesus says about his return. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the utmost parts of the earth to the utmost part of the heaven. That means everywhere, not one specific area.
I understand that. I never said that. I'm telling you, your 10 tribe chart must include over there just as well. Now let's go to the text.
Cool. Hey, LaRon, we're not arguing that. We're not arguing that.
We're not arguing that.
Why would you jump over there?
Hey, LaRon,
Jump over there.
Can you hear me out?
Hey, James, I got a different viewpoint, man. When you read the 16th verse and you line it up with Zechariah 10, it's really clear. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna point out that earlier we already went into detail talking about that we need to extend the charts. That's all I was gonna tell LaRon.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what's up. That's what you're gonna have to do. It ain't what you need to do. It's what you're gonna have to do.
LaRon, what they were saying was that what they were saying, and I think the premise was laid out by Guerrilla Hebrew. What he was stating was that in regards to the 12 tribes charts, when they teach it over here, it's and it's involving the people who are indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. He says that if they were somewhere else on another part of the world, then they would have to, discern the spirit of the people there to discern which part of the 12 tribe chart that they fall under. So they're not neglecting per se everybody that's on the other part of the hemisphere, but they're just saying immediately, how do we verify immediately that the people that are on the Western Hemisphere, that they're in alignment with the 12 tribes that are listed in the scripture?
Exactly.
You can't verify by Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy
God,
28.
here we go. All right, let's move
Hey,
forward.
Hey, can I make a quick comment? This is why I said don't put them in here, man. Psalms 111:10 says you got to be keeping the commandments and the precepts to get the wisdom and
Well,
knowledge of
hold
the
on,
Most
brother.
High.
Well,
But
hold
you
on,
ain't
brother.
keeping
You
no
want me to tell
commandments
the
in
Gentiles?
today,
You
man.
tell me Gentiles ain't gonna keep it?
Off subject.
All right, can I
No,
make
that's on subject. How the brother gonna talk about biblical scriptures and the brother ain't keeping no commandments?
Let's read
That's why he ain't
Isaiah
got no
11.
wisdom.
Let's read
He needs to hold
Isaiah
his
11.
tongue, man.
Let's read Isaiah 11.
Ecclesiastes 5:1.
Let's read Isaiah
Can I
11.
make a point? Can I make a point, man? Please, can I make a point?
Don't even. All right.
I just want to make a quick
I ain't got
point,
no
man.
respect for no Christian, man. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
You don't even keep the laws. You didn't lost your mind.
Hey, Alvin, you can go ahead and take this.
Yeah, Alvin, moderate, man.
He said not one jot nor one tittle should fail from the law.
See, I told you he was showing color. That's why he don't got no damn knowledge.
Everybody, hey, because my computer is so slow, I can't mute nobody. Okay, so check it out.
Yo, can I make a quick point?
Hold on, he's the moderator.
We're about to take this off air. I hope everybody saw some stuff, but we about to get real right here off air. So, thanks for listening. Now we're about to get into some stuff.
Peace.
Hey,
Okay.
reset